Hello everyone, greetings of the day. So let's start today's session with a wonderful quote. Consistently working late is not necessarily a sign of hard worker, but rather the inability to use time wisely. For starting a new chapter of learnings, I am Venkata Hemant, being your host for today's event. Want to extend you a warm greetings and good evening to all present here. I hope you all are doing amazing. On behalf of the whole SEMS family, I welcome you all for today's international webinar on the topic People's Participation in Forest Management. And to add our guest of honor, today's speaker, Mr. Arun Kumar. It is a great honor to have you with us. We are grateful for your presence. Also, I see a huge number of people joining us. Before I proceed, let me take a brief moment to introduce my organization. SEMS Welfare Foundation is a non-profit entity established to work in the areas of education, social welfare, women empowerment, skill development, and entrepreneurship, livelihood generation and employability, health, research, culture, international cooperation, sports, environment protection, or any other similar sectors. We promote healthy lives and balanced and active community and strong businesses. Now, let me introduce today's speaker to you all. He is an Indian Forest Service officer of 2009 batch allotted to Tripura cadre. Hailed from the port town of Tamil Nadu, graduated and postgraduated in forestry from Forest College and Research Institute TNAU. Served in Tripura as DFO as well as DCF till 2017, working with various assignments with special focus on forest protection, conservation of Milsonia nigrix, JFM, upliftment of tribes of Tripura, etc. Served as Deputy Director at Forest Survey of India and worked in ISFR 2017, 2019, and 2021 and steered Forest Type Mapping Project 2022. He also represented in FAOs, GFRAs, FRA exercise and imparted training to forestries, park managers of Tanzania, Kenya, and Sudan, specially trained in drones on its mapping part and delivered various national and one international addresses. Trained forest officers, forest rangers, forest guards, NDRF, other stakeholders in remote sensing, forest management, drones, forest fires, forest certification, agroforestry, etc. Currently, he is posted as Secretary ICFRE.
Thank you. Thank you for the brief introduction, Venkatji. Okay, so basically, I am an Indian Forest Service officer. I belong to 2009 batch. Wrote the exam of UPSC in 2008 and cleared in 2009. After that, I briefly got a training in Dehradun only. Then after that, I went to Tripura. Tripura is my home cadre. So basically, this is an all India service like IAS and IPS. IFS is also the third all India service. So I was allotted to Tripura. There I have been because he was mentioning DFO, DCF, that is District Forest Officer, as well as Deputy Conservator of Forest. And after that, I moved on deputation. So after serving for a certain time, we can come out on deputation to the central government or to the state government. So worked in Forest Survey of India. After that, now he has explained, Venkatji has explained all the things. Worked in India State of Forest Report. So which is a report biannually the Forest Survey of India brings once in 2 years to tell how much forest cover is there in India, whether it has reduced or increased. So that was the major exercise we have done there. After that, I shifted to Forest Research Institute, which is a very age-old organization. It's also in Dehradun only. And now I'm just posted as the Secretary of ICFRE, means Indian Council of Forest Research and Education. So I could see, because it's a general topic, that people's participation in forest management. I was going through the list of people who have joined, because I cannot give quote examples of foreign or the overseas countries. So mostly from where I have worked, so there only with my practical experience only mostly I will be talking on this topic. So let me share the screen with the presentation. So let me start this topic. People's participation is forest management. So this is one of the very fine topic where we can speak, especially the officers from Tripura or even any people from Tripura can speak. So Tripura is such a place there where the involvement of the administration go deep into the roots of the people. So that is the very unique thing of Tripura. I was very happy also because the organization, I have given a list of topics. So you have selected this topic, so it's very easy for me to. So this is how I have made very short presentation. So we'll have a brief introduction about the forests over the world as well as the forest in India. And after that, we'll speak a little bit about the forest management and little about the how the forest management occurred in India pre-independence times and after independence time. And after that, we'll speak in detail about the people's participation, how the history, how it has been started, and how in India it has been done, and how the people are getting benefit because of the people's participation. Finally, we'll have the conclusion. This is how I schedule my presentation. So basically, coming to the introduction. So I don't know how many people who are from forestry background are there. So little bit technical terms will be there in my speech. If it is no, if you cannot understand, kindly as suggested, kindly put it in the chat box. I can clarify it to you at the end. So GFRA, that is we call it as the Global Forest Resource Assessment Report. So the Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO. So once in 5 years, using some satellite images, they used to find out what is the forest cover over the throughout the world. So the last one was done in 2020. So as per the 2020 report, this is the map, the world forest map, what they call. So tropical, you can see the tropical forests. They account around 45 percentage. Boreal forests, mostly found in the regions of Russia and US and Canada, they account for 27 percentage. And the temperate forests, they are almost 16% in subtropical forests. Though this subtropical forests are very less in composition, but they significantly form a very major ecosystem. So overall, we have around 4.06 billion hectares of forest throughout the world. So it accounts to around 31% of the total land area. So if you just divide it for the per capita, then we have around a single person will be having 0.52 hectare of forest per person. So this is in general about the entire forest over the world. So just I want to show you this, especially the very important thing. India is in the top 10, and we fall in the 10th position with respect to the forest cover or the forest area of the world. So dominated by Russia, and we follow the trend. And Asia, we and China, we and Indonesia, we are there. So coming to the top 10 countries which are getting annual net gain. So this is very important. So in this era, you know that severe deforestation, severe illegal filling, everything is happening. Still, we are in the third position where the annual net gain is there. So India contributes a good thing in that thing. And the table for the side, because I have not changed the table numbers. If you want to refer to GFRA report also, just the same table numbers will be. So that is why I just left as such. See, you can see the top 10 countries. So the very important thing in this top 10 countries is, if you map these 10 countries throughout the world map, they all fall in the equatorial zone. And these countries encompass that tropical rainforest, what we call, which is normally found 10 degrees south and north of the equator. So that is very, very important. So that we have the luxuriant forest. At the same time, that we have the countries where the area is being getting reduced also, that we have the percentage of area also very, very high. So coming to India, so this is the ISFR, what I call the report published this forest cover map. So this is the 2021 map. In 2023 they will come up very shortly, they will come up with a new one. So in India, we classify them into four classes. You can see the legend what has been given: very dense forest, moderately dense forest, open forest, and scrub forest. So basically four categories based on the density class we make it up. So I think everybody will be much knowing about. If you have further details, I'll clarify you in the last. So we have mostly dominated by the moderately dense forest and open forest, or more in especially in India. So coming to the forest cover, when we speak of the cover, you can see around we have around 24 percentage of the total area, means we have the total forest cover around 21 percentage. And after that, there is a term called tree cover and tree outside forest, which doesn't fall into the traditional forest areas, which especially fall into the urban or rural areas that are accounted, which are which used to be less in area. So they used to be sampled separately and will be added. So totally we have around 24 percentage of the total geographical area into the total forest cover. We are still far ahead. comparing to the national, international, means the world average, which is around 31%, we are far behind. So our the 1988 forest policy also speaks about that. We should come up to the 33%. It's one of the very major objective. One third of the land area should be under forest. So this is another very important thing. First is the area, and second is the what quality of forest we have. See, so basically our Indian forest, we have different, means we follow this classification, what we call it as the champion and safe classification. So we have six major groups, and which is further divided into 16 type groups, which is further divided into 228 types. So roughly we call around 200 types. So in India, we have around 200 different types of, so that much diverse India is. So coming to the laws of forest, you can see the top 10 countries as well as the countries, the states in India as per the ISFR 2021. So this is what I would just want to mention you. All these 10 countries, wherever they are play, wherever the list has been table has been given, all falls into the that tropical rainforest zone. And mostly because of the primitive cultivation, or what we call it as the shifting cultivation, is very prevalent in these areas. The same in India also. If you see all the northeastern states top in especially in the loss of forest area, and again this, so they also fall in the same region of tropical rainforest, and here also you will find the very high amount of shifting. So basically, if we tell that what how in what ways we are losing the forest, see it's all because of pressure on the forest, and major because of deforestation and the primitive cultivation, what we call as the shifting cultivation by the indigenous people, as well as by the people who want to go for monoculture crops, especially the red oil palm plantations, cassava plantations, rubber plantations in India. These all are accounts to severe loss, and many developmental works. Maybe you might have been seeing in India also, in the world also, many talks are going on because of the developmental works, like the big hydroelectric dam projects and any roads which are constructed throughout any good jungles. So all these disturb the forest and reduce in the forest area. In many places, natural calamities, though not much prevalent in India, but otherwise in foreign countries, if we talk about Australia, America, Canada, we have severe forest fires. So natural fires occur, and they are capable of burning millions of hectares. So this is how in the since the 2000 since 1919 to 2020, see they have just compared, the GFRA has compared in how much the rate that deforestation is happening. So it's a good thing. So you can see the deforestation rate from in the last in the last 2 decades and the last 5 years, slowly they are decreasing. That means people are getting more aware also, and we have more concern toward the forest conservation. So coming to forest management, see, forest management is a very broad term. See, we cannot be, there is no bookish definition, will be very difficult to understand. But the very clear thing is, what is your objective of management? For what purpose you are managing your forest? For what purpose you are conserving the forest? We call it as the forest management. So in all the parts of the world as well as in India, so we have this three broad categories of management. What we call it as the protective management, the forest managed for protective functions, forest managed for the protective function, and nowadays the conservation or the sustainable management we all speak about. Forest managed for conservation and sustainable. See, starting for productive function, when a forest is producing any kind of productive services like wood, timber, any food, fuel wood, anything. If it is exclusively managed for that, we call it as the forest as the productive forest. If it is managed for protective forest, so this picture, this is from Shola. I don't know how many you know about the Shola forest from especially in the three states we have, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Karnataka. So technically, among the champion and safe classification, we call it as the southern subtropical mountain temperate forest. It's a very unique forest, especially found in the creeks of the high altitude mountains. It's normally found above 1,800 meters, and this place is Mukurthi National Park in Tamil Nadu, the picture where it belongs to. So here they protect this forest. They don't allow any productive function in order to ensure that good amount of water conservation is being done. Because of this good solar forest only, Ooty, you might have heard, they get very continuous source of supply of water. Similar way, we have in Kodaikanal also, tourism lake. How many have visited, I don't know. That lake is having continuous supply of water, which further supplies water to the Kodaikanal is because of the solar forest. found in the upper area. And third thing, this term is very important now. Conservation, everywhere we'll be speaking of this conservation. So because now what the important thing is what we are seeing, our future generation should also see. So that is why this concept came. So whatever exists, we have to protect also, and we have to sustainably use it in a manner so that they don't go extinct. Because we have lost many species of plants as well as many species of animals from these unique ecosystems, and we are still losing the ecosystems also. So that's why this concept of forest management came into that. So briefly, I'll tell about how the forest management happened in India. See, if you see the world, the Tamil literatures, be what we call Agananuru, Purananuru in Tamil, as well as any other Buddhist literatures also, and our own Indian Vedic literatures also. Forests are always given very good importance. And in the olden days, the kings they had special man, especially to find out somebody is cutting trees or somebody is killing elephants. They are punished also. And when the Mughals term came, so know that Mughals are very famous for making gardens, and they promoted a lot of planting of trees all over the area. Then we all well know about Ashoka, how he was interested in creating the avenue plantations. Then comes the colonial rule, that is the one of the very the 200 250 years where the forestry has changed much and much. And after 150 years of their experience after ruling in India, then they introduced the scientific management of forest in India. And further, we continue scientific management for around some 145 years. And after that, we understood that forest cannot be managed solely by authorities. So we need a coherence with the local people. That is why the concept of joint forest management came into being. So briefly, I'll tell how the scientific forest management was there pre-independence, because after 150 years of experience, around in 1850, 60s only, they understood how they were managing cutting the forests for their railway sleepers and for other wood and other products. They found that is not going to yield much in future. So that is why the concept of scientific management came, and we call Dietrich Brandes, who is the father of the scientific Indian forestry, what we call, and he's the first Inspector General of Forests, and the second Inspector of General of Forests, Sir William Splitz. So these two persons are very important. For 2 decades almost, they completely managed, means all the managements were done by these two German foresters. Exclusively, they are German foresters. They are from the Cooper Hill. That is a very old college. I think it has been renamed in the name of now Copenhagen University. And from there they belong to, and they came to over Burma, and from Burma, Indian government took them. Indian government means the whole colonial government took them for managing our Indian forest. So briefly telling what they did is the administrative reforms. Whatever the structure we have in the forest department, CCF, Chief Conservator of Forest, followed by CFs, Conservator of Forest, followed by DFOs, Deputy Conservator of Forest or District Forest Officers. And the entire structure was being made by these people only. Followed by, this is the time where the first forest laws and acts came into being. Old Madras Presidency Act is the Forest Act is there, and after that the Indian Forest Act 1927 came. The first policy, 1892 forest policy also came into being during this time. Forest Research Institute, they gave importance in the year of around in 1900s. They started to give importance to the field of research. That is why the Forest Research Institute, it's also stationed in Dehradun, almost more than 100 years old. That institution is. And during this time, this working plans came. Working plans are nothing that we write a plan to manage a forest for the next 10 years. And similarly, we have management plans also. If there is involvement of wildlife or we have some national parks, then management plans are written. And Indian Forest Act came into being in 1927. Again, Indian Forest. So that time it came into being. After that, after some time, Indian Forest Service was stopped. Again, it came after the independence time. So after once we got the independence, so these are the very important things which came to govern the management of forests. The National Forest Policy in 1952 came. Then what happened is the National Commission of Agriculture in 1976 was set up. So it proposed that forest should be brought in the concurrent list. So all may be knowing that before that it was in state list. So as there were a lot of diversions, lot of fillings were happening, so it was felt that it should be brought in concurrent list so that the central government can take a strong view or can have a control over the state subjects. So hence it was brought there, and after that the Forest Conservation Act, the very famous act, it's a very short act which gives the forest and the forest office a very good power. So anyone cannot easily convert a forest area into non-forest area or not use a forest area for any other purpose. Then comes the Tribal Act, then comes the National Forest Policy in 1988. So this is also very important. This is the first time the joint forest management or the people's participation was first spoken. So this policy spoke, and after this, many schemes came up. So that I'll be just again coming up in the coming slides. And this act is also very, very important. The Scheduled Tribes and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Act. It is of 2006, very famously called as the Tribal Act or the Forest Rights Act. So this also gave the local people who reside in the forest their authority over the land. They can use the land for their habitation as well as their cultivation any practices for their livelihood, but they cannot convert that forest into any non-forest purpose. So this gave an authority. This gave a feeling to them that that area belongs to them. Otherwise, they were feeling that so they though they live inside the forest, but they don't have that ownership over that. So coming to people's participation. So very briefly, it's very easy to define. So involving the local people in day-to-day forest management activities. So immediately when we speak of that, so whether it can be day-to-day forest management activity, every work, obviously we have used people in all the works, starting from our daily routines like visits to the field, patrolling, plantation works, and any other work. Even they have helped a lot. I'll come up in the coming slide. So coming to people's participation, I already told you started with National Forest Policy 1988 and further empowered in the Forest Rights Act. So we call it as the Joint Forest Management. Uh, After that, the JFMC, Joint Forest Management Committees or Eco Development Committees. So two kind of committees were formed in many of the projects, especially these four projects. And some more projects are there, but these four are very important. First came up the Forest Development Agency. So it's funded by my own Indian government. So many JFMCs, Joint Forest Management Committees, were formed in the local level. People were made a group. Activities were given to them. They manage their own part of the land, do all the activities, whatever, whether it's a plantation, whether it is check dam, they do their work in that. Then comes the Swedish International Development Agency, again an external funded project from Sweden. Then the JICA, a very common thing. Earlier we called it as the JBIC. Now we call JICA, Japan Indo Cooperation Agency. Many of the states are funded by this JICA only. Many states like Tamil Nadu, when I was a student in Forest College, Metropolitan Tamil Nadu, in second year, I think when I was attached with the Forest Department in Tamil Nadu, so that time the first phase was going on. It's one of the very successful project in Tamil Nadu, and after that they had two more times they had the project. Now the third or fourth phase is running there, and even in Tripura where I belongs to, because we have to thank JICA because of that only. Many that forest could be protected using their initiative. And now, very recently, you may be knowing that Green India Mission, we shortly call it GEM. So it's again a flagship program. And here also using the FTA JFMC the same way, we are using them for greening as well as protecting the area. So coming very briefly, why participation is important? See, because still long time the local people or the whoever we call as the local people, they never thought that whatever we are doing is for them. So every time they think that always when it comes to the administration, always they see that these people are means the officers are coming here or the forest department or any other administration are intervening in their day-to-day activity. So the major thing why we brought them inside the mainstream of administration is so they should understand whatever we are doing is it is for them. And the very important thing is to reduce the impact on forests. Many places you go to many places in India, any national park, sanctuary. If you have a guide with you, just ask him what he was doing earlier. Many times you will find earlier he might have involved in some or other illegal activity. The problem why they were there is because they are not getting a good source of revenue or good source of income from any of the streams they are involved. And very frankly telling, because we have seen in Tripura many smuggling of teak, you may be knowing, and very good timber as well as sal. These two species are very prominent and very high in Tripura. Many times when we used to catch the people, we used to ask them how much you are paid after that. And a very meager amount because a log or a squared timber will be going in thousands, on 10,000, 20,000. But they will be paid only 100, 200 rupees to cut that timber and convert them into a form in which they can be transported. So always there is a crunch for them. They don't get a proper revenue or income from. So that is the reason they were mostly involved in all the illegal activities. And that is why they are involved in smuggling, illegal felling, as well as poaching. And once it was well understood, and when they were trained enough, to have a regular source of income, we give them some kind of other activities. We can pay some income, so that has come down. This is the main reason the joint forest committees were made, and root them in the right path of way. See, they don't know whatever they are doing. They thought that it is a right because they were felling the trees, they were killing the animals. They thought it's all their right. It's their earlier right to live. And after that, we started to show them, no, it's not right. See, you have to respect the forest. You may be knowing several forests in India are conserved through that sacred groves, or we call it as the community forest, especially on conserved on the religious basis. So we showed them the ways, and they are the original inhabitants. This is also very important. See, many times when officials go there, we always find that the information they have about that forest, generation over generation, they would have gathered so much information about that forest. But what which will not be knowing to the administration, this is very important thing we lack. When we go and sit with them, when we become one of them, we'll come to the many things how this forest was. Because when we go for rehabilitation of a forest area, we always see how many, what were the early species were there in that area, so that the forest can be brought in the older stages, like 100 years before, 200 years before, how it was there. We try to bring them, like we aim that way. So many times what we see, we go for that. But the soil and climatic conditions may be suitable for some more thing. So that these the local people will very clearly tell what was there very earlier, and how what were the animals were there, what they were eating. Everything will come to know, and this will help in both forest and wildlife management. And the last one is the gender equality. Very important. See, it's a very broad topic, but this people's participation brings very good gender equality. This I'll come in the last few slides, and I'll be explaining about that. So these all case studies, whatever I'm going to speak, it's all my personal case studies, what I have gone through in Tripura as well as some other places. So nothing, I have not taken anything from internet. I thought it should be spoken in a very free way. Then only people will much understand about that. So participatory rural appraisal. So many people know about this. Commonly we call it as the PRA. So this is how, whenever a plan is made for a joint forest management committee or for a EDC in any forest area, we involve the people. We give the local materials to explain. We first make them to explain them what they have and what can be done. We ask them, because sometimes, and many a times, not sometimes, many a times, their ideas will be excellent. That will be very helpful for them. And again, this what it happens the first day itself. People will come to know, okay, the administration is coming down and they are accepting us. So the cooperation will be very good. Even if they are involved in some kind of illegal activities, also they leave it and come with the help of, come in the hands of the administration. This motivates a lot. So this is the first step whenever we plan for a particular JFMC or a forest area for another 5 years, 10 years. We make the people to speak out what they have, and from that we'll get the information and we'll go ahead with. Second thing is plantation activity. This what is very old. The time I joined in Tripura, this is my OJT, which we call as the on-job training. So this is the left side person. He is my JFMC member. Yeah, again, he belongs to that Abhaya JFMC. So it's a place called Churai Bari in Tripura. Almost it's a bordering place of Assam and Tripura. So the very unique thing is, see, this is a plantation what they have taken. It's a Muli bamboo plantation. So the very important thing is, daily they will engage two people. The two people have to go throughout that area to find out whether anybody is not cutting any of the tree. Or the important thing is, cutting the tree is whatever you're finding behind this picture, all teak trees are there. So one thing is that, and second thing is, what happens is sometimes, because there is a chance of high browsing and grazing also in these areas, whatever seedlings which are planted, we ensure that they still survive. If 1 2 years they survive, after that, they'll come up very high. So that is why these JFMC members, so there is no need that we should involve somebody to do it. They themselves involve them. We don't pay them also. They, in their rotation basis, the JFMC may be having more than 100 200 people. In a rotation basis, they used to do. And second thing, because I'm not having the photograph, that's why I mentioned that. So this JFMC, this is an Achin Baba JFMC. It is in a place called Garji. So it is a place in Tripura where the Tropic of Capricorn passes actually. So in this JFMC is very unique in the sense that, so they asked me, because I may be knowing about the tree called agar, Aculeria malacensis we call. It is the two trees we call as the costliest trees, or considered as a highly valuable tree. One is Santalum album we call, and second one is this Aculeria malacensis or Aculeria agalocha we call. the agar tree. Both the trees are very high in oil content and very highly priced and very highly used in smuggling also. The very unique thing is this JFMC, very specifically, they asked me when I was D4 in Udaipur, they asked me, sir, make us to plant agar. Then I was shocked. How? Why you want to plant agar? Then there is a chance of high chance of smuggling or cutting from once the tree matures. But the people were very strong. They told, no, no, sir, we will do it. They themselves came up and do it. And for one home, we gave one tree we planted by them. So in the initial stages, we protected them using jungras or what we call it as the tree guards. And after that, the trees have come up very well. It's almost now 10 years. Maybe in another 10 years, all the trees will be of matured size and maybe they will be yielding very, very high. A tree, if it properly is, if it is extracted and extracted, maybe costing around 5 to 10 lakh rupees they will be getting. So very unique thing is the day when they asked me, I was thinking whether they will protect. But last 2021, I visited Tripura, so I was very happy. Those trees were come up very very well. And second thing is the riverbank plantation. See, Tripura is famous for small rivers and rivulets. So very highly prone to erosion because the mountains, means the mountains are mostly of soil. The rock depth is also not so deep. The reason behind that, the reason because of that, high soil erosion happens here. So we have to conserve the banks by going for riverbank plantation, especially those trees or crops which can prevent the erosion in the riverbank area. So we generally go for bamboos very commonly, and we call it the katabas or the bamboos we call that we plant that can hold the riverbank complete. So again, one JFMC, especially in Garji Chara JFMC, we used to go. So they were very happy. They themselves took over the project because they want to conserve it. And whatever the yield means, whatever the firewood they collect, they use it from the bamboo. Whatever they collect, they use it for their daily activities. And whatever the bamboo shoot, again, Northeast is famous for bamboo shoot, and this bamboos is very good, especially in the taste when you cook the bamboo shoots. So they whenever the shoots comes, so they retain some 10-20% and remaining things are harvested and people eat as well as they used to market it. And again, I want to speak about another JFMC also. This is a joint again FDA JFMC, and whatever your finding is, again a bamboo species, Bambus vulgaris we call, the yellow bamboo we call, very highly priced for their ornamental works. So this JFMC, they simply take up this plantation of 10-20 hectares. Every year, because bamboo is harvested once in 4 years, every fourth year we harvest it and we give it to whatever in the local people they ask or give it to the industry. In 2010 or 11, one big industry came up in Tripura, which is called as the Mukta industry. And the Central Vista, what is being made, I think they have got a tender also for furnishing some of the areas in the central with the same industry has got, and all are bamboos of Tripura. That is a very unique thing. And this JFMC, in that way, they supply to that industry, and every year they get a good revenue. And this revenue is put in the revolving fund. That what is revolving fund and all, I'll just explain you in the coming slides, which is further utilized by the people. And you can see how confident is the JFMC president. He is explaining to all the officials and who are there, our bosses like the PCCF as well as the DG Forest, all are standing there. We are just learning from them how he is doing it. And very unique thing is, see, I want to tell thing very important tell you is, it's not only in Tripura, it's always almost in many of the places where this JFMC concept is there. Regular interactions happen. Very frequently we meet, at least a month. So I used to have more than 100 JFMs. But whenever I go to a village, I ensure that 3-4 JFMs I meet and something. People will love to talk to you because always officer comes means people will love to talk to you. And second thing is when you go down, you learn a lot from them. So in that way, we used to have very high level of interaction. So normally when a JFMC is made, so there are two kinds of body. One we call it as the executive body. Another one we call it as the general body. So what happens is general body means all the members of the village, mostly they will be the members of the general body, and executive body, 10 or 12 people will be there. So once in a quarter, like once in 3 months, we have to go. They have to conduct the executive body meeting, and once in a year they have to conduct the annual general body meeting, and that annual general body meeting has to be attended by the DFO very compulsorily. So we used to interact a lot with. So in that way, frequent interaction happens. So that helps to know what people need. And third thing is forest protection. This picture is also again very long back. So I'll just tell you that individually, as a forester using the forest staff, it's very difficult to protect the forest because of the reduction mix, because of the very less manpower we have. So what we used to do that is do the first thing is we involve them as informers. So many a times what happened, we get false information. We go to a place in the other area, the smuggling or the post product will pass away. So we lose the product, and because Tripura is surrounded by Bangladesh, very easily there are a lot of creeks, nalas through which the they'll pass away very easy. So we have to involve. We normally used to involve the JFMC members only. They used to be there by our illegal informers. They'll exactly tell what's happening, where it is happening. And I sorry, I put two times the additional manpower. Wherever we are lacking manpower, they generally they give that power in that place. So we always feel happy whenever maybe knowing if there are 10 smugglers and if we are only two, three people, then they will overcome us very, very easily. But other places, if we have more number of manpower, by seeing the strength, either they will try to escape or we can catch someone, and from that we can inquire and get the gang who is doing the illegal activity. And many JFMCs and many times I have seized some vehicles using the JFMC members. And I think one JFMC which I have earlier told that Achinbaba JFMC in Tripura. So they have been also enlisted for the one of the highest award, especially in forest protection, what we call it as the Indra Priyadashini Award. So again, removal of encroachments. So this the left side picture and the right side picture are same pictures in Tripura. The left side there was a big encroachment was there. So the local people helped me, especially in removing that encroachment. And after that, we planted the agar. This is the agar tree. This is the state tree of our Tripura. So we planted it, and after that, now it has grown into a very good plantation. Now maybe after some 4 5 years, it will also be yielding a very good outcome. So in that way, people help a lot, especially in removing the encroachments and prevent smuggling. This is a very unique case. This is our normal turtle, what we call it as the flapshell turtle. So it's it's a myth that turtle meat is very good. If you eat a turtle meat, you will live longer because the turtle lives longer. This is what the problem of that superstitious idea that people have. So this smuggling, especially in the Sipaidala district in Tripura. So one day near the border, using the BSF and the local people, we could catch a truck full of this turtle. And after that, we brought that and released in our ponds. So it's one of the greatest achievements which we could do using both the BSF as well as the local people. And staffs in animal keeping, very, very important. See, our local people are very well trained, especially we have a zoo where many of our wild animals are kept, as well as whatever animal which goes like elephants to be they start going out of control. They are also tranquilized and they are brought over here. We train the people, local people, in that way so that they can be properly employed and use that generation. And this is one typical example. And this is a tamed elephant only. It's a makna actually, but somehow it got angry and killed its mahout. And this entire operation we could do with using one particular village. They helped a lot in that village only. But though people, otherwise many places when we go, people won't help. They just throw the responsibility on the forest department. But in that way, the local mahouts, they came up in order to catch that animal because it has killed at that time two people. And after that, it was tranquilized and brought back to our rescue center. This is important. Revenue generation. See, just we use the people to conserve, protect. So in other terms, some kind of revenue generation should be also there. So as I talked about that Forest Rights Act, you may be knowing that Forest Rights Act. So through that, Tripura is one of the state where we have given a lot of land for the tribal people. So after giving that land, we felt that some kind of revenue generation should be there without disturbing the area much. So that's why you can see this is an agroforestry model using bamboo, mango, as well as the pineapple. Pineapple, again, the queen variety of pineapple is very famous in Tripura. So using that, we have cultivated them, and people get the intermittent harvest, and from that they used to get some intermittent income. And again, awareness creation, we involve the people to go for more and more awareness creation, especially the children of the JFMC members, because we want that this should happen from the very young age. Then only people will have the feel this is our forest, this is our land, we should consider it's for us. That's why we do this. And gender equality. This is what I told that earlier. I'll be speaking about the gender equality. So this joint forest management or the people's participation will involve a very good gender equality. So one of the reasons is you can see I was mentioning about the executive body. Some 10 to 12 people will be there as the executive body members in the JFMC, in the Joint Forest Management Committee. If you see that it's mandatory that one third should be a woman. It's very, very compulsory. So you see that 3 or 4 out of 12 people will be women in that committee. And the classical thing I want to tell you about this, because I'm not having the photograph, just I want to mention this. In Tripura, once I remember when I was patrolling in the night, around some 2 o'clock, maybe in the JFMC area. So suddenly I saw two people coming in that, two women were coming in that. I was also shocked. Immediately I came down and asked why you were roaming in the night. Then they told they are night protectors of their forest. They consider their forest as a temple. The entire forest is considered as a sacred grove. So every day, two people are involved in complete protection of the forest. They have some local mechanisms also. If anything wrong happens, they communicate so that everybody get alert and get participated in protecting the forest or conserving. It was very unique. That is very, very thing, and we have just, though we cannot publish any article out of that, but we have recorded that in my PD, in my personal diary. I used to record it because such kind of practices are very rare to see in the common in this new world. And again, we also ensure that precedence of the JFMC is very out of maybe three out of one third of the JFMCs, whatever we have, we ensure that women held the responsibility, held the charge of the president. In that way, it also helps us to remove that one is the gender biasness, but many times if you see the Northeast people, women are very hardworking. Many times we may miss that their what they think and what they want, we may miss out of the lot. That's why we ensure that one third of the entire JFMC presidents should be of women. And revenue generation, I was mentioning about the revolving fund. So revolving fund is nothing, a seed amount is given in the initial starting of the year whenever the JFMC is constituted. So using that amount, what they used to do is they used to give some small amount of loans to someone. From that, they can start up some kind of work, like we used to give from that band search so that they can perform in the marriages, and from that they'll get some revenue, and from the revenue they'll give back the whatever fund they have got on loan. And again, in Tamil Nadu, I have seen that a lot of women were being given sewing machines so that they start to do their routine works and they used to sell their product. Share on forest product. This is very important. Whatever the product they conserve or they protect and whatever comes out of it, a certain share is given. In Tripura, a certain share is there, some 20 percentage goes to the JFMC and 80 percentage comes to the revenue of the forest department. And this is a kind of a MOU which we make with the JFMC when the JFMC is made, and it differs. The share can be in case of non-timber forest produce, it will be more, and in case of major forest produce, it may be less. And vice versa also. It's according to the state, it will be there. Entry point activity is what I told you that in the initial days we give them some major kind of employment like sewing machines, like the bands. Then they used to run their business out. And last, the employment generation. This is very, very important. Whatever employment we create for that JFMC, let it be a check dam generation, let it be a plantation, let it be a protection, let it be a maintenance of that forest, we ensure that only those members of the JFMC are in that entire man. No other people are involved, so that those people get repeatedly the work in that place so that they don't involve in any other illegal act. So coming to other benefits, as I already told you, many JFMCs from Tripura, they have gone for many national awards and many model JFMCs are there. One such JFMC is the Tulamura JFMC, which I call. Many field visits of other nation representatives used to come over there and used to visit these places. So that is also very, very unique in this place. And we also send many of our good JFMC members, some leaders as well as some members, to visit participatory management structure. We send them outside, go and visit other countries also, come back, and you can implement the same module in here in your place. And our JICA has helped out in this way and helps in reducing the communal violence. This is very, very important because I want to especially mention one, because that's why I specifically mentioned the JFMC name. So once what happened that this is a JFMC. What happened is there is a mixture of both two kind of community. I don't want to mention the community name. Two different communities were there. So we were finding often some kind of violence was there. So in the meantime, what happened is through the JFMC, because in the FRA Act, you know that if you give some, if there are some tribal or the forest dwellers are there, we can give them some place for construction of schools, some kind of activities we can do. So in that way, we gave land for them to construct a school so that both the communities could go well. And after that, violence or even not the tension was there. not and helps in bringing the people to mainstream. This is also very, very important. This is also a classical example in 2013 when I went to remove an encroachment in one particular area. The people reverted me back. They tried to beat us. Even tried one lady tried to kill me, cut me with a sickle. So, but in the meantime, after that, I just contacted the Gram Pradhan. I requested her, bring them into the mainstream, otherwise many things will go off. And you don't believe within 2 months that we made a JFMC out of them. And the lady who was trying to cut with a sickle on me, she was sitting here, she was serving me water on there. So this was a very unique thing, the joint forest people's participation or the joint forest management committees can bring up. And finally, this revolving fund I've seen in many places. It helps to you help the members when they are in distress. So these are the other benefits what we have using the people's participation or the joint force. So that's all very briefly because it's a very I thought 40 minutes and 20 minutes I'll take up the question answers whatever you have. So very briefly the conclusion is nothing. It's very open. Like it's just somebody is speaking. Want to speak or
No, sir, no,
to
sir. Continue, sir. Continue.
Okay. So very to briefly continue, see this type of management we have started seeing after 1990s only. So this was the unique thing, and before that we were in the phase of productive, or in the phase of management, purely managed for production, and then we started the industrialization area started. So whatever we produced, we used for industries, and after that, agriculture was considered as very important. Many forest lands were given for agriculture. Then comes the 1980 forest policy, which tells that okay, you have to involve the people, otherwise the forest cannot be. Today, many of the national parks, sanctuaries, all involve the local people. Because of that, only a very good amount of conservation has happened. Many examples are there. I've just spoken about Tripura only. If given a very because if I want to speak, then I need 2 3 hours. Then I can give a overall picture because it's kind of long lectures. We used to do it for many officers and very senior level officials here, then that kind of lectures can be had. So finally, this is my last slide. Our fundamental duty. So we cannot. We all know that it's one of our fundamental duty. We all have to strictly protect our nature. It's not that you and me, everyone is meant for that. Finally, I finish with this quote of Abraham Lincoln. That is, democracy is for. We always tell of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's always for the people. It's not for me, not for you. It's for all. Whatever we do, it is for the benefit of the all, presently also, as well as for the future. I think that's all I have prepared for today. Any questions, you can directly ask me over here. Happy to answer whatever I can.
Yes, sir. What a wonderful knowledge and experience given by you, sir. I hope our audience have learned many new things from this session.
Thank
Once again,
you.
I would like to thank you for joining us and sharing your experience, your precious time and knowledge with us. So there are a few questions which our
Yeah,
audience want to be answered. So with your permission, shall we?
yeah, sure, sure. I would like to. I also would love to see.
Yes, sir. So here's the question. How
Mhm.
can people effectively engage and participate in forest management processes, particularly in areas where there may be limited resources or infrastructure?
See, how the people will be there. Okay, it's a very common question. Tripura is also a very remote area. Some of the places it's very difficult to go deep. You have to travel only by land, means by foot. There is no other mode of transport. See, the first thing is it's from both the sides. The authorities also should also go to the people, go to explain. We should explain what are the benefits out of that. And second thing is we only because it's not that on a single day the people will come to you cooperate with. Slowly and slowly only, they will also come over to you. And it will happen because we have seen in our practical experiences when we go once, twice, thrice, and we should show the examples what we have given to the nearby villages. Then people will automatically will come over. Then their mind will also come down. Their hearts will also be okay. The department or the any kind of administration, they are doing good. So this is the main thing that administration has. They should go to the people, they should convince or they should show the people what they have done by showcasing all the positive facts, all the success stories. I think it will be easily, it can be easily done. I don't know whether this answer is who asked whether this answer is okay or very specifically you want to know any other thing. You can ask him.
I think that his question was resolved, sir. And we have
Okay,
another question as well.
sure.
The question is, what are the key challenges or barriers faced when trying to involve local communities in forest management?
Yeah, nice question. See, the first barrier is now first thing the authorities has to go. Okay, I have seen in my life also the first time when I went to a JFMC, I simply went in my attire, and after because they invited me for a dinner. Then when I went there, so first thing is I saw nobody is talking to me. Then I was wondering what is happening, why no one is talking to me. Then I when I came back when I had my dinner, then I just it's a kind of a dinner without any interaction with them. Then I just started my vehicle. I was talking to my driver. What happened? What's wrong with what happened? Is something wrong happened? Then he told, sir, they are saying still you are an officer. You have to go down. You have to be one among them. Then only it will happen. The first thing is the attitude. We have to go with the barrier between the common mass and the whatever whoever is there, whoever is the manager. Let it be a forest officer. Let it be any other people. We should break it and we should go. Many other factors will be there, like there will be some kind of masses which will be promoting negative impacts, negative things. So we have to come over all those one by one. See, first thing is we should ensure them a good economy. We should ensure them that there will be a sustainable livelihood for them. So after that, now they'll slowly come to the mainstream. They'll start to come to the consideration. So this is what I have faced in the field.
That's a good piece of advice, sir.
Ji.
And once again, I thank you for the knowledge that you have shared with us. Again, thank you all for attending today's webinar. And if you have any additional questions, you can contact us by email or telephone. We are happy to provide additional support to you. Thank you for so much cooperation. So stay connected with us for new learnings. I, Venkata Hemant, your host for today, signing off. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.